Yeah, and it is an issue. I've never had to do that before, but both the last two games have both been so close, and just like most of the time, you never know when that one play is going to make the difference in winning and losing. And Sam McCaskill is one of the best players I got, obviously, and so I need him on the field all the time, and I'm just thankful that he's been able to hold up and do what he's done.
How has not having Gabe in there? How has that kind of mixed things up? We talked to Durant this week, and I know obviously he's kind of moved back there. How's that kind of altered things?
Well, and that's what really has made the situation a lot tougher when Gabe ended up, with his injury again and being out. Then we had to have the second guy over there with Jabril, and Jabril had been banged up a little bit, and so we were really in a tough situation right there. Then we had Matt Locker to back up Sam, and then he turned an ankle. So, we were just going through all these situations, and having to move Durant to stud is what really has made it a tougher situation. So we're trying to get a couple of freshmen and walk-ons ready to play at that end position with Sam.
Because Durant had been Sam's backup.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he'd been the backup of Sam the whole time. Now he's back over at stud.
Who do you have then with
Well, we're actually working Austin Silsby there
Okay.
Behind Sam now, and also Chase Atada.
Okay.
They both have had a good week's practice, and hopefully we're going to be able to get them in the game on Friday night.
Interior-wise, I know that BYU game, Elliott had one of his better games. And
Right.
Obviously, David's been pretty consistent. Inside, how are those guys working out?
I think they're playing well. We can still obviously got to keep growing and getting better and better. And David has played a lot of reps, and Louis playing well behind him. Louis just keeps coming on a little better each week. And then Elliott had one of his better games, like you said, and we got to still get Daniel is behind Elliott there, and he's coming on. He's a typical junior college guy that you bring in, to be honest with you, and I think he's reached the point now where I trust him more than I did. So hopefully, again, all those guys can get a few more reps, I hope, this week.
With you've coached a couple conferences, and you look across the Mountain West, and the way it used to be here at Boise State, Boise State would beat these teams by 50, but now you're every week's kind of been a tough one. What do you notice about this conference?
Well, I think it's like all the conferences; they're so close together. I mean, there's nobody just head and shoulders above everybody else, except maybe Alabama. You look at them, they pretty well get after everybody. But when you look around the football league now, I mean, you look at all the conferences, I think when you look at this league, I tell you got to go play every week. And one thing, Boise State has been so good, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And so you better, the first time you don't bring your A game, and there's just not that much difference.
Why do you think that is? It probably says more about the league maybe than Boise State, but why do you think that is?
Well, I think the league has a great name, and I think everybody's recruiting better, and they're recruiting all over the United States. This no longer is just
regional.
Yeah, regional team. And you look at our whole league and where all the players are coming from. I mean, Colorado State, I know, has got a lot of kids from the Florida area. And then obviously they got Wyoming, I think, had a lot of kids from back on the East Coast also. So, when you look at the way recruiting is now, it's no longer, like you said, just a regional kids. Then I think that has changed the whole league.
Yeah. With and you look at San Jose State, what do you kind of notice as an opposing coach? And I know they've had some difficulties at times protecting the quarterback, but what do you notice about them?
Well, I think they're really good up front, though, and that's what is very interesting. I think they've gotten behind and they've had to throw the ball a little bit, and that's hurt them. But you look at them running the football, both of their running backs are averaging over 4 yards a carry. I think one of them's averaging 5 point something, the other one's averaging 4 point something. So they have 4 returning starters up front, 5 counting the tight end. So they're very experienced. They block very well, running the ball. And obviously they've given up some sacks, but I think once you get them in that position, you get ahead of them, then everybody has trouble sometimes protecting the quarterback.
Every school has kind of process and stuff, and you guys have it certainly. When you come off a loss, is there anything different that you maybe try to say a different motivational tactic? Is there anything different this week than last week?
Well, I think any time that happens, not just the coaches, but I think the players, then they look at how did what could we done better, and that's what you want them to do. You want them to look themselves in the mirror and say, hey, I should have done this better. I should have done this better. Maybe if I'd just done this, it might have been the difference in winning and losing. So I guess you'd say a sense of urgency, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not that we didn't have it. We felt like we had practiced well going into it.
Magnified now, and obviously.
Exactly. It just, that night we weren't the best team on the field. We were the best team, but we didn't come out with the best score.
and then in that game, you guys, their quarterback's pretty mobile and stuff like that. What gave you guys trouble? Didn't have any sacks.
Well, actually, he, we got to him a few times, but he got out and he converted some big third downs on us, and that's what really hurt us. And that's a big emphasis this week because obviously this kid he can run too. Potter can fly. He might be faster than the one we faced last week. We had trouble with him last year over there. So that's been a big emphasis this week is we got to do a great job keeping those guys in the pocket and squeezing the pocket and not letting them out so we can get off the field on third down.
And then a random one, I guess you go against him in practice, but Alexander Madison's a guy that's kind of stood out, and I'm sure your group gets to see him quite a bit. What impresses you about him, as a guy on the other side of the ball?
Well, I think a true freshman come in and run the ball the way he does and with authority he does. I think he's going to be a great player, and he's doing a great job already.
Perfect.